So hey, this is a pesky instrument when it comes to the strings ringing out all the time. When you come from an acoustic guitar and you start practicing on an electric, it's like, and then you add distortion, right? You add this sound to the whole mix, and then everything is ringing out all the time. And there really should be an inbuilt solution for that in the guitar, right? Why did we build it that way? So it makes noise when you don't want it to make noise. But what happens over time is that most guitar players, when they're on the highest level, actually step by step develop the way of muting all the strings that they're not playing. So in this video, I'm just going to give you my techniques, my specific techniques of keeping the strings that you're not playing from being played, right? And it's a delicate little thing. And the first thing I want to start with is palm muting. And you say, I don't want to palm mute. I want to have my strings ring out. I just want the wrong strings not to ring out. Yes. But the first step is to gain control of your playing field by simply going in and then saying, okay, I'm going to palm mute all the time now. Not a lot, just a tiny little bit. So the habit that I want you to adapt to is simply having this going on all the time. And I don't want you to, let me see if I can cut out the delay here for a second. I don't want you to play like this all the time, but I want you to be at that level where you can just move your hand 1/10 of a millimeter just in this direction, right? Back and forth like that. And that will bring you from this, which is an open string, to this. And if your hand is always there, then you can always have just a little bit of palm muting, and that is very relevant in a lot of cases, right? So when I play, I constantly go back and forth between muting just a little bit and then opening the sound a little bit. It's like on a piano, we have a pedal for that, right? Where the piano, when you just walk up to it and press a key, then it'll actually be muted. Because there's kind of these soft little pillows on the strings inside the piano. And when you press that pedal, those little pillows, they rise so they don't mute the string anymore. So even a piano is constantly muted. And I want you to do the same thing. So if I'm playing... in order to get that ah sound, I'm doing upstroke pinch harmonics, but that's not the point here. The point is that I'm having my notes being under control. So then, they stop when I'm right. And then what I do when I'm ending the line is that I'm just releasing that palm mute, and you can't even see that. Keep an eye on my right hand here. Right, it's just a slight lift or a slight pulling back. And the way to do that, I could go into this for hours, but the way to do that to get started is to take the PC bone, which is that little bump, that we have on where if you take your pinky and you follow it down to your hand and where the hand becomes the arm, you have a little bump. That's the PC bone right there. And you take that little bump and you place it where the low E string meets the bridge. This is a perfect position for so many things. I always have my hand there for any technique, anything I do, same position. But it's also a great position for palm muting. So what you basically do is you might want to practice, if you're practicing alternate picking on one string, you might want to take the G string and then go back and forth between palm muting and not palm muting, right? And in this case, I'm just lifting it just slightly like that, right? Just, I might go to the E string. Because every string feels a little bit different because it's in a different position to the hand, right? So it's a delicate process of really, when you improvise, really being... Right? Every time I play a note that goes on for just beyond bup, right? Then I lift my palm mute. So that's the first step. You want to have that going all the time. Then the second step is that every string that is, you could say, above when it comes to notes or below when it comes to the direction in the room, so towards the floor, if I'm playing the G string, for instance, and I have my note on that string, that's the note I play, then you might say all kinds of things about how to hold your hand when you play and whether you're grabbing the neck or you're holding it like that. But what I basically do is I use my first finger to mute all the strings that are above or below, depending on how you see it, that first finger. So if I'm playing 3 notes on the G string, my first finger is muting the B and E string, because it's not only fretting the G, but it's laying softly across the B and E string. This is delicate again, right? It's just little things, right? From instead of doing this, right, I'm doing this. So there's almost no sound there, right? And then and anything that is in this direction, above, or when you're below, when it comes to notes, because there are deeper notes in this direction, right? Anything that is there is muted by my thumb, right there, by the side of my thumb. Because when I'm picking the strings, then my thumb is grazing the strings lightly, right? So my thumb is basically muting everything that is in this direction, right? All this, there's no sound here, right? So if I'm playing the G string, there's no sound there because my thumb is basically resting on the strings, which also gives me a really nice way of knowing where I am in relation to the string, because I have contact, physical contact. I'm not picking out in the air trying to hit the string. I know exactly. It's a feeling matter, right? Right now here, I'm not lifting my thumb from the low E string or the A string, and I have slight contact with the D string. But that means that there's no sound down here, right? And so I can go. So if I go, so listen up now. Now you got 3 things going on at one time, and this is what's so hilarious about this instrument, that just to play simple notes, right? On a piano you usually go bing bing bing, right? And then you got 3 notes, right? Perfectly. Beginner level, bing bing, right? It's the same note. Whether you practice for 1,000 years or 1 minute, it's the same note. Here it's a totally different story, and the secret is in the details. So that's why you can take a simple lick, like a simple right? Something like that. And that's how I learned. It basically got started anyway, is that I took that and went, right? And then I just grinded those little details so until I had it right. And I kept on doing it over and over and over again. Like a, right? So you go muted. Right, you got the G string in the 5th fret, right? Muted B and E string. Or you kind of bar over to the B string. So you got the G and the B string, but the E string is silent, right? And all those little movements, the palm muting, the raking, right? That's also, right? You can almost film it. But you have to zoom in, like to really see what's going on, because it's such small differences in what you do. So palm mute all the time. Even when you're not palm muting, you're just ready to palm mute because you're 1/10 of a millimeter away from palm muting, right? And then everything that goes on in this direction is muted by the first finger, right? Everything that goes on in that direction is muted by the thumb, which gives you a closer connection to the instrument. That's a good start, right? So do that and practice it every single day, and really listen for when you know you got it right. I hope to see you in another video.